and girls, and some mean, nasty people want to have you for their supper. But if you follow me, you can all be free, free, you can all be free.
Yo! Welcome to another Untimely Review. This time we're talking about another significant blip in my childhood, Speed Racer. It wasn't until one day before watching this that I found out it wasn't universally loved by fans and critics alike, so let's see if they have a point, or if it's like the Snyder Cut, and everyone's opinion, but my own, is incorrect. Let's just get right into the story. So major spoilers for the closest thing to a live-action Hot Wheels movie we're probably ever gonna get.
My bad, pimp.
We begin, as we usually do in movies, with the present, for about 2 seconds, until we flash back to a young boy having the hardest time filling out his Scantron because he just can't stop thinking about the roar of race cars. We get introduced to his mom during a parent-teacher conference, and even though her name in this is just canonically Mom, she gets a card. 4 reasons. Picking up with the car boy again, he's disassociating super hard in class, and we find out that this kid's government name is Speed Racer. God, this movie is great so far. Now, once we see the outside, it looks like Spy Kids 3D, which came out 5 years before this, and that is not a very good thing. We also get introduced to Speed's older brother, Rex. Who cares? Speed pesters Rex to let him go to the racetrack, and then we flash back from the flashback to the present, just a flashback to the flashback again to see that Rex allows Speed to be in the car while doing this. I don't think Rex is a very responsible brother. He's also whispering into this young boy's ear about how to treat a car like a woman, so there's just a whole lot going on here. Then we get this amazing transition and see Speed's racing. There's action. This man growls. And it's all very fast and confusing, but just great so far.
Flashback.
And then we find out that Rex had some enemies and that they wanted to take him out because his speed was just too great. This little girl punches this other little girl, and we get introduced to Speed's dad, canonically known as Pops. Has the most significant growth in this movie. Still doesn't matter. And when Speed delivers a package to his dad, Rex realizes that it's a bomb, and that's 2 murder attempts that we've seen or heard about in 11 minutes in this children's movie. Rex is being vague about leaving under the cover of night, and he just starts becoming a dirty racer, for some reason. Then Speed punches a kid named Big Mouth, very creative with the names, and we find out that Rex died in a car crash. I mean, it's a car movie. There really isn't any other way to go in this type of world.
End of flashback.
And just as Speed is about to beat his brother's high score, he eases up off the gas. He still wins the actual race, so it doesn't matter outside of the feels he gets. Then this happens.
What kind of is it?
Right after that emotional scene, this is the very next thing that happens. And we find out that this kid's name is Spritle. Top 5 worst movie characters ever. And he will only be slandered the rest of this movie. Then we get formally introduced to Sparky, a weirdo who doesn't deserve a card. And Trixie, no mechanic bowl cut GF, why live? And she loves
Beans, what the fuck?
And then we finally get a good look at grown-up Speed without his helmet. So, Speed Racer, really cool name, really dumb name, and deserves a better movie. Then, this dude Royalton interrupts breakfast, illegally parks his jet on the street, and gets Speed and his family to go to his company to get wined and dined. Speed meets a guy named Cannonball Taylor, who's very ominous, and Royalton and Speed agree to meet next week to decide on if Speed is going to race for him. After that, the dude from Ninja Assassin is getting beat up, but before his hands get turned into Jack Skellington fingers, he gets saved by some random dude with sick driving skills. When he gets out of the car, we see that it's House of X era Professor X? Wow, what a reveal. He starts talking like Batman about justice, just to also cover the DC side, I guess. And then we see Speed and Trixie have a flirty romantic talk about signing his racing rights over to a multi-billion-dollar company. Then, again, the worst character pops up to ruin the fun. Speed then goes to talk to Royalton. There's a Spritle sequence, so skip. Speed tells Royalton how Rex's death affected his family and declines his offer. Now, being the shrewd businessman that Royalton is, he doesn't try to get Speed to reconsider by somehow sweetening the deal even more. Oh no, he just laughs like the cartoon villain he is and calls him a
naive chump.
How very rude. Skip! It's then Royalton's turn to go on a spiel, so he does. Then we pick up with Speed's next race in Fuji, where the mysterious Mr. X is also racing. There's more action, more speed, and then less speed, because he gets into a nasty crash. But we see that this is all just still Royalton doing his supervillain speech. But then everything that Royalton said would happen, does happen. So Royalton is so rich that he's an oracle, which is cool, but also not very cool. Speed then gets a pep talk from his mom, and we meet this guy named Inspector Detector. Okay, I know that this is a real character from the source material, but like, Inspector Detector is just so fucking stupid. Anyway, him and Racer X are there to recruit Speed for a cross-country race, but this is no ordinary race. It's the race that got Rex killed. So, of course, everyone is like, no, we're not doing that. Even if it means they can get dirt on Royalton to take him down, since he's a little dickhead who was rude. That is, until Speed just decides to do it anyway with Trixie's help. The race starts, we get some honestly great shots, some car combat that even Mad Max will never have, and far too many cutbacks to Squirtle being fucking annoying. The first leg of the race finishes, but Speed's team comes up short. Speed is starting to piece together who he thinks Racer X is, but while him and Trixie are talking, because Squint just had to run his fucking mouth, Speed's family comes to the race. And then we get the fight between close characters that cliched-filled movies just love to have at the midway point. And hey, look at that! It's the midway point. Taejo gets poisoned by a ninja using this cool little string thing. X fights a ninja, which doesn't seem like something he should be able to do, but he's a hardened man, so whatever. Oh, and the ninja he fights gets pinned like this.
Yo, holy shit, he dead!
There's some more bullshit with a ninja who is definitely gonna get killed after all this happened to him. And then the second leg of the race starts, but because Taejo was poisoned, Trixie takes his place. But then a plan that was just not discussed happens that involves a crime lord, and I don't get why this is happening. There's also more combat, and it's just not very good, but it's stylish, so there's that. Then the race starts back up. This snake guy gets so mad, he just pulls a gun out, but then Speed takes him out pretty easily, all things considered, and with him gone, they win the race. Unfortunately, Taejo wasn't actually trying to help bring Royalton down and just wanted his company's stock to go up. So, Speed goes off to race since that's really all he knows how to do, and while doing that, X comes to try and calm him down. We find out that X isn't actually Rex, which is a solid fake out that I can appreciate. Then there's even more parallels with Speed and his brother, but the most interesting part is that you can see how much Pops has grown by his reaction to Speed leaving. They have a little nice heart-to-heart, but it's interrupted by Taejo's sister, Haruko, who came to give him an invitation to race in the Grand Prix. For some reason, this was not included in the movie, but they need to build a new car, even though this one seems pretty fine, but whatever. We get a car building montage, which means we get even more of these sick transitions, which is probably why they even included this. Speed then gets to the race with his brand new Mach 6, and because Royalton is continuing his villain run, he put $1 million bounty on his head. You know, just to make it more interesting. The race starts, there's tension, there's excitement, there's so much blatant dogpiling on Speed that it's nuts, but he's both the best driver and main character, so it's
Nothing to me.
well, that is until Mr. Cannonball turns into a sore loser and cheats, but Speed, using his favorite bouncing move, exposes him, but in doing so ends up frying whatever a triple phase conductor is. The movie doesn't really think this matters too much because all Speed has to do is believe in the heart of the cars and then it just works again. So now he's zooming, he's booming, he's speeding and dominating the competition. The coolest shot so far happens and he wins the race right after completely destroying the Mach 6. We find out that X really is Rex, which completely invalidates me saying that was a good fake out, and the movie ends with some quick newspaper front pages. Remember newspapers? Well, now that the movie's out of the way, what did I think? Somehow, against all odds, I really like this movie. And it's not even just because a friend of mine said it was bad and I'm being spiteful. I genuinely like this movie. Is the writing good? No. Is the overall story good? Not really, it's pretty standard. Are the performances award-winning? No, not really. Everyone's fine, and even though Spritle is by far the worst character, I think he's designed to be that way, so again, this is whatever. But the visuals, and I must be very clear about this, because for the most part, the visuals honestly suck. I mean, the comping is really the issue, but I again assume that this was to make it look more cartoony, but it still also could have just been done better. But the visuals in the races are the real highlights. There's just something special about the ways that the cars move and how the announcers cut back and forth between the action. The movie as a whole is not very good, but I did really enjoy these moments. The little moments are where the movie really shine outside of the races too. I mentioned how much I love the way transitions happen, but there's also just so much style in this movie, from the little cartoon sections to the design of the world. It's all so colorful and defined, and I'm not saying that it makes up for all the corny dialogue like this.
Hubba hubba. Was that a ninja?
More like a nanja.
But it is something that I loved watching. Aside from that, the movie's not that deep. The characters are all pretty standard. There's mom, dad, annoying ass little brother, weirdo guy who lives with the family but isn't family, love interest who knows the main character's potential and helps him realize it, and main character. It's all so incredibly standard that it's painful. I wish that there was more to say about this movie, good or bad, but it's just not that deep. I think that Speed Racer is a cool enough franchise to have more than one movie, or really anything from the last decade, but aside from that show, that was also not very good to look at. I just hope that we could get something new soon, so that this isn't all we have. The movie's far from being bad, and not nearly as bad as some of the reviews I've seen, but it's also not great. But let me know what you think. Is this movie an underrated classic, or is it just alright? Let me know in the comment section below. Mayhaps like and subscribe. And thanks for watching.